Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 306 based on novel. So let's start. Wang Lin slowly raised his head as he pondered, and his gaze fell on the retreating wind demon. On the outside, she still looked like Yao Shishue, but Wang Lin sensed that it was a completely different person even though it was still Yao Shishue's soul. Killing intent flashed in Wang Lin's eyes and he took a step forward. The moment he moved forward, the wind demon's pupils suddenly shrank and she rapidly retreated without hesitation. She was the wind demon, so her speed was not ordinary. Although she was only a demonic cultivator, her speed was unimaginable. With just one step, she disappeared without a trace. Wang Lin's expression remained calm. The ancient god furnace appeared before him and he pointed forward. With a thought, a speck of light appeared far in the distance. The light was around the escaping wind demon. Her eyes filled with shock as the light surrounded her and a force pulled her toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's body didn't pause. He went with the flow and pressed his finger between the wind demon's eyebrows when she passed by. There was a bang and the wind demon's body was knocked back and she coughed out blood. Her eyes revealed a cold gaze. I know that for my karma domain to become complete, not only must I clear all my karma, but I must integrate it with myself. Wang Lin seemed to be speaking to himself as he charged at the wind demon. The wind demon let out a roar and formed a seal as she retreated. Dense demonic energy suddenly spread out and the ocean that melted froze once more. As the wind demon waved, the sea below rumbled as countless ice shards flew at Wang Lin. Little cultivator, this demon originally didn't want to kill you, but you don't know your place. The wind demon's voice echoed, then the ice shard suddenly closed in on Wang Lin. From a distance, the entire world was surrounded by the ice shards that shot at Wang Lin. It was as if they wanted to completely crush Wang Lin. The moment the ice shards closed in, Wang Lin raised his right hand and gently waved. A sea of flames suddenly appeared before him. At first it wasn't strong, but soon it erupted and spread in all directions with Wang Lin as the center. In an instant, the entire sky was red due to the sea of flames. The ice shards that were rapidly closing in immediately melted into water and then turned into white gas that rose into the air. In an instant, along with the sea of flames, the sky was also filled with white gas. The wind demon's pupils shrank and she sucked in a breath of cold air. She had already considered Wang Lin very strong, but it seemed she was still wrong. This person wasn't just terrifying, he was a complete nightmare. Even during her peak power, she didn't dare to say she could claim victory, much less now when she was only at the late stage of Nirvana Scrya. The matter with Yao Shishue is the hurdle to complete my karma domain. After hundreds of years, I have unknowingly become immersed and became part of the karma. Only by thoroughly integrating myself can I truly understand karma. Just like I had to enter hell to understand its desires. Wang Lin's eyes became even more clear, and he moved forward. He was surrounded by a sea of flames, and the extremely hot flames charged at the wind demon. The wind demon's heart trembled. She clenched her teeth as he pointed at the sky without hesitation and shouted, "Law of the wind." After he spoke, a demonic wind raged within the world and circled the wind demon. Then it shattered into broken pieces of wind that charged at Wang Lin with a point from the wind demon. At this instant the world changed colors and was covered with demonic wind. Even the ocean rumbled loudly. Cracks appeared in the sky as if it was going to collapse. When the blade-like demonic wind swept forward, even the flames dimmed as if they were going to extinguish. However, this wind wasn't able to make Wang Lin even retreat half a step. He continued to move forward and allowed the wind to hit his body. Now that I'm immersed in this karma, I must break free of it. Only then can my karma domain reach completion and my Tao heart will have a breakthrough. Wang Lin's right hand formed a fist and he mercilessly threw out a punch. Moment he said, "Breakthrough." There was a heaven-shaking rumble, and when Wang Lin threw his punch, the shadow of an ancient god appeared. Its head was in the sky and its feet stood on the ocean. The ancient god shadow also threw a punch along with Wang Lin. Ancient god? The wind demon gasped. She had thought that the terrifying aura from Wang Lin's body was familiar. However, the passage of time made her forget many things, and the shadow just now reminded her of many terrifying memories. You were actually an ancient god. The wind demon's scalp went numb. She immediately retreated and almost turned into wind as she quickly escaped. Everything I did before was not wrong before the karma domain. The reason my karma domain isn't complete is because after over 1,000 years of slaughter, a flaw has appeared in my Tao part, like an inner demon. Wang Lin's fist suddenly collided with that endless demonic wind. Popping sounds echoed and the demonic wind was split open and forced to scatter. Wang Lin stared at the wind demon that had already disappeared into the distance, but he didn't panic. He slapped his bag of holding and took out the wither tattoo. Then he placed it on himself. The moment the wither tattoo was placed on him, a black wind wrapped around Wang Lin and a giant tornado appeared in this world. The moment the tornado appeared, a large whirlpool formed in the ocean below his feet. A heaven-shaking roar that seemed to be able to pierce the world came from the tornado Wang Lin was in. Then a black bird appeared within the black wind. The bird's wings suddenly stretched open. Its body was only few dozen feet tall, but it suddenly expanded greatly when it opened its wings. It was now hundreds of thousands of feet wide. Its large body could cover the sky. As the roar that could tear the world echoed, Wang Lin only took one step, and he could feel the wind hitting him as if he was running through walls. These wall-like obstacles all collapsed before Wang Lin's ancient god body. The spell of that step was impossible to describe. He seemed to have been separated the world and moved forward at a speed similar to spatial bending. The wind demon had used all her cultivation to escape like crazy. In order to prevent Wang Lin from using that strange power to catch up quickly, she didn't care about exhausting the demonic energy in her body, so spread out large amount of demonic energy around her as protection. The demonic energy caused a large ancient demon shadow to appear behind her. The wind demon was very confident in her speed. Just when she thought she had escaped, she suddenly heard a thunderous rumble from behind her. The moment she turned around, she lost her wits. Wang Lin was closing in at an unimaginable speed. Along with Wang Lin, the whirlpool that formed before followed. It moved at a shocking speed and created an earth-shattering roar. It was as if the entire ocean was being stirred up. The karmic effect lies within my Tao heart. The method to clear it is to truly resolve the karma between us. What bullshit karma? This demon can't understand a word. Since you won't let me go, this demon will risk it all to kill you. The wind demon no longer fled. The speed she was extremely confident in was a joke before Wang Lin, so how could she escape? She had devoured the endless hatred form Yao Shishue that couldn't be erased, and all of it erupted under Wang Lin's pursuit. The hatred immediately made the scars on the wind demon's face became even more ferocious. The scars formed a formation and released a flash of green light. Ancient demon treasure, soul-sealing flag, the wind demon shouted as she opened her arms. Large amounts of demonic energy appeared and gathered in her hands. Endless demonic energy appeared and the entire world was surrounded in a cold aura. The entire world showed signs of freezing, and a howling wind began to blow. There were flashes of green lightning within the condensing demonic energy above the wind demon. Then 3 small, green flags slowly flew out. The moment the 3 small green flags appeared, the sky changed colors. The ocean below seemed to be split open by a mysterious force. The water was squeezed to the sides in a loud rumble. Countless shadows appeared above the green flags. Among them was unexpectedly an ancient god and 2 single-horned ancient devils. What was even more terrifying was that after the 3 flags appeared, not only did the sea change, even the world became unstable. As the ocean split, it activated all the restrictions here. The activation of the restrictions caused a huge fluctuation within the ocean. All the water began to condense, and in the blink of an eye, countless deep gullies without any water appeared. The intersection of these gullies made the waves even more violent. What was truly shocking was that if one looked from above, as the endless sea condensed, it was taking a humanoid form. The humanoid that was condensed from the water seemed to be asleep, but it was showing signs of awakening. The wind demon's expression was ferocious, and she paid no attention to the changes happening in the ocean. Her right hand formed a seal and she chanted a strange sound. This was the language of the ancient order. When this sound came from the mouth of an ancient god, it contained majesty and sense of age. When it came from the wind demon, although it contained a sense of age, it was more sharp and eerie. The wind demon pointed forward and the three small flags began rotating around her. Dense, green gas came from the flags and then a huge phantom appeared. This phantom was tens of thousands of feet tall. It looked indomitable, and it felt like the world couldn't accommodate its existence. There were 6 stars rotating between the eyebrows of this giant phantom. As the green gas moved, 2 ferocious figures appeared next to the ancient demon. They were only 1,000 feet tall, but the moment they appeared, a monstrous demonic energy erupted as if they wanted to break free from the shackles of the green gas. There were 6 stars rotating in the right eye of each ancient demon. The moment Wang Lin saw these 3 shadows, his pupils suddenly shrank. The wind demon stood before the 3 phantoms. Her hands formed a seal as she stared at Wang Lin and shouted, "I don't care if you're an ancient god. You will become one of the main flags of my ancient demon clan's holy treasure." A flash of killing intent appeared in the wind demon's eyes and her right hand pointed forward. The 3 phantoms behind her moved. The 6-star ancient god took a step forward and threw a punch at Wang Lin. The 2 ancient devil phantoms charged at Wang Lin with a bloodthirsty auras from the sides as if they wanted to devour Wang Lin. Although Bei Lu wasn't a royal ancient demon, his status was not normal among the ancient demon clan. This soul-sealing flag was gifted to him by a royal ancient demon. Although it was not as powerful as a royal treasure, it still had great power. Before Bei Lu was divided, he had the soul-sealing flag. Once he summoned it, all 49 small flags would fly out. Not everyone sealed inside was killed by him, they were sealed there by generations of people who were its masters before him. Bei Lu was only the 7th generation owner. Rumors had it that the first owner was extremely powerful and strong enough to directly confront later generation ancient gods. He was an extremely rare 4th generation ancient demon. The ancient order was a clan that defied the heavens and then split into 3 different clans. The first generation ancient gods, ancient demons, and ancient devils contained a large amount of the ancient order bloodline and inheritance. After them were the 2nd generation ancient gods, ancient demons, and ancient devils. Although they were weaker than their 1st generation counterparts, they still had a lot of the ancient order bloodline. However, as time passed, the ancient order bloodline and inheritance became more scarce among the 3 clans, and in the end there was only a trace. The so-called royal clan was the group with the most ancient order bloodline remaining. They were also the direct descendants of the 1st generation of the 3 clans. Bei Lu was a 79th generation ancient demon, but his treasure had a long history and was very famous. However, the wind demon had gave up her identity as an ancient demon, so her ancient demon body had dissipated and therefore she could no longer use the real treasure. At this moment, the 3 flags were formed by condensing her demonic energy into phantoms. It was much like how Wang Lin summoned the god-slaying spear. The wind demon pointed forward and the ancient god and ancient demons from the flag charged at Wang Lin. Wang Lin was able to immediately see through the 3 flags. His right hand reached out at the void and a crack appeared along with a thunderous boom. It was as if a large gully had appeared in the sky. Lightning arched along the edge of the gully and thunderous rumbles could be heard. At the same time as Wang Lin's right hand grasped the void, a heaven-shaking pressure came out of the gully. This pressure was extremely powerful, and it immediately caused the wind demon's expression to change. The thunderous rumbles were echoing across the world when a ray of black light flew into Wang Lin's hand. It was the god-slaying spear. Royal ancient god holy treasure. The wind demon had memories of this. When she saw the god-slaying spear, her pupils shrank and her eyes filled with fear. "You are royal bloodline ancient god." Wang Lin's right hand held the god-slaying spear and waved it forward. The 6-star ancient god's body trembled as he stared at the god-slaying spear, and his dim gaze suddenly looked bright. He was only an ordinary 6-star ancient god, so in terms of generations, he was even lower than Bei Lu. Now that he saw his clan's holy treasure, his body trembled and stopped. If the soul-sealing flag was actually here, he wouldn't have done this, but what the wind demon summoned was only in phantom. It was far weaker than the real thing, and even the souls sealed inside it were weakened significantly. The wind demon secretly complained and hated Yao Shishu for provoking such a terrifying existence. If she had known she had provoked someone like Wang Lin, she would have never fused with Yao Shishu. Damn it! In Yao Shishue's memories he was so weak that he could be killed with a flick of my finger. How could he be an ancient god and even a royal bloodline ancient god? The wind demon knew in her heart that the royal bloodline was extremely rare to the point of extinction among the 3 clans, so it was very difficult to find one. Bei Lu had only met a royal bloodline ancient demon by pure chance. In truth, with the wind demon's strength, as long as she didn't encounter Wang Lin, she could have done as she liked thanks to her various spells and unmatched speed, even if the likes of Sichu Nan came. However, when facing Wang Lin, all of her methods were suppressed. Her speed wasn't fast enough, her spells weren't strong enough, and even her treasures weren't useful. Although both were only phantoms, she couldn't beat Wang Lin's royal treasures. At this moment, as Wang Lin's god-slaying spear swept forward, the world changed colors as if everything was trembling. The god-slaying spear swept straight toward the 2 trembling ancient demons. These 2 ancient demons were only phantoms that didn't contain any of the power of the true soul-sealing flag. If they encountered ordinary cultivators, they could put up a fight, but they weren't even qualified to face Wang Lin's god-slaying spear. When the god-slaying spear whistled by, it was fast beyond imagination. One of the ancient demons' body was pierced by the spear. It turned into endless demonic energy that seemed to be swept away by the spear. In the blink of an eye, the ancient demon's body disappeared. The wind demon's pupils shrank. At the moment of life and death, she spat out blood without hesitation. Then her right hand quickly formed a strange mark and she pointed forward and shouted, "Flag destruction." The green flags that formed the 3 phantoms rapidly rotated and then collapsed under the command of the wind demon. The powerful impact turned into a green dragon that charged at the god-slaying spear. When the small flags collapsed, the remaining ancient god and ancient demon collapsed. They entered the green dragon and made it even more powerful. The god-slaying spear and the green dragon collided at an extremely fast speed. The moment they touched, a sphere 1,000 feet wide appeared between the 2 treasures. This sphere contained black and green gas that continued to fight against each other. The sphere was also flashing along its edges, and popping sounds continued to come out from inside it. A terrifying destructive pressure surrounded the area in an instant. This was a battle between the treasure of the ancient god and ancient demon clans. One was the royal god-slaying spear and the other was one of 4 first-generation ancient devil treasures. They were both just illusions, but they were very powerful. The black gas inside the orb was filled with agrants, as if everything before it had to be destroyed. The green gas struggled like crazy, but it couldn't escape the fate of being forced to retreat. When the green gas retreated, the entire ball became black. Just at this moment, the orb divided. There was a heaven-shaking sound that echoed in the world. The thunderous rumble could churn the clouds and tear the sky. As the sound echoed, it set off the ocean waves once more. Under the impact of the collapse, the green dragon collapsed and dissipated. The god-slaying spear pierced through and charged at the wind demon. The wind demon coughed out blood. Her treasure was destroyed, and although it was only an illusion, it was still linked to her demonic energy. Seriously injured, she saw the god-slaying spear close in. Her face turned pale and she quickly retreated. Wang Lin's expression was cold and he quickly gave chase. The wind demon became extremely angry and cursed, "I didn't get involved with the matter between you and Yao Shishue. You keep claiming it's karma. I'm a wind demon, not some damn karma. You were originally outside of this karma, but you forcibly joined in. If you choose to give up Yao Shishue's body, I can let you go." "Bullshit, I'm only a memory. How do I leave?" The wind demon gnashed her teeth. She inwardly regretted fusing with Yao Shishue. Although the wind demon didn't understand karma, she had a vague feeling that she had entered a situation she couldn't escape. The god-slaying spear closed in and was about to catch up to the wind demon when Wang Lin's eyes lit up. Just at this moment, Wang Lin's expression changed and his body moved. Then a giant hand made of water came out of the ocean and swept past where Wang Lin was, and it grabbed hold of the god-slaying spear. The hand ruthlessly squeezed the god-slaying spear, causing the spear to emit a powerful black light. The flower restriction in the Celestial Emperor Cave was completely activated by the fight between Wang Lin and the Wind Demon. The large hand grabbed the god-slaying spear and immediately tried to drag it down. There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes and he shouted, "Collapse!" After he spoke, the black light from the god-slaying spear intensified until it was like a black sun. Even the arm formed by the ocean looked black from the light. The moment this black light reached a limit, a loud bang echoed across the world and a devastating destructive force swept by. The arm made of sea water collapsed and even the sea water itself dissipated. However, not only did Wang Lin's expression not relax but became even more serious. Even the Wind Demon's expression changed as she stared at the ocean. Roar? A low roar came from the ocean. This roar was heaven-shaking and turned into a sound wave that echoed across the world. The thunderous rumbles couldn't cover up this roar. At the same time, the ocean churned violently and started to rise. Wang Lin's pupils shrank and the scene before him made him gasp. This wasn't water rising into the air, but the humanoid figure formed by the ocean sitting up. This was a giant whose size was impossible to estimate. Just sitting up made it feel as if it was about to pierce the sky. Its huge body was composed of water, and when it sat up, the deep seabed was revealed. The ocean was no longer there, only this giant made of sea water remained. A sea giant. It was impossible to clearly see its appearance with its muddled facial features, but its large ears made it look nothing like a cultivator. It coldly stared at the small Wang Lin and Wind Demon in the sky. Then it slowly raised its hand, which set off a huge wave, and reached toward Wang Lin. Before it even closed in, a loud rumble rushed at him like a gust of wind. Wang Lin immediately retreated and dodged the approaching palm. A mere restriction formed by dew. I don't consider you worth of my attention. Two balls of flame appeared in Wang Lin's eyes and the vermilion bird tattoo on his body glowed red. The moment the giant's hand swept by, Wang Lin opened his arms and a sea of flames erupted from his body. The moment the sea of flames appeared, it began to sweep the area as Wang Lin's origin energy surged out. In the blink of an eye, it filled the sky and caused a loud rumble. This scene was extremely shocking. The sky was covered in a sea of flames, and below it was a giant made of seawater. The moment the giant's arm closed in, Wang Lin let out a roar within the sea of flames. Wang Lin's will infused into the flame and the entire sea of flames descended from the sky at the giant. The sea of flames fell like a rain of fire down on the sea giant. The flames released high heat before they even closed in on the giant. The Wind Demon saw this from a distance and gasped. She dreaded Wang Lin even more now. In almost an instant, the sea of flames gathered from all directions around the sea giant. Large amounts of water vapor spread out as white mist in a ring shape. The sea giant roared once more. As it roared, it was as if all the water inside its body was boiling, and then it suddenly scattered in all directions. It looked as if the sea wanted to devour the sky. From a distance, you wouldn't be able to tell Wang Lin was fighting, because it looked like the sky and ocean were battling each other. The sea was majestic and charged directly at the sea of flames in the sky. In an instant, a monstrous wave that was like a wall that connected to the sky swept across. It formed a ring and began contracting toward the center like crazy. The rumbling was heaven-shaking. As the sea wall closed in, all of the flames were immediately extinguished. The wall shrank until it was only 1,000 feet from Wang Lin, and all the fire it touched had collapsed. As it contracted, a giant face appeared within the wall when it was 1,000 feet from Wang Lin. This was the face of the sea giant. The moment it appeared, it let out a roar and opened its mouth. It then charged at Wang Lin to devour him. The flame in Wang Lin's eyes burned brightly and the vermilion bird tattoo shined through his clothes. With a thought, a vermilion bird cry came from within his body. This vermilion bird cry was powerful and majestic. Just at this moment, Wang Lin's entire body began to burn and the red vermilion bird rushed out from his body and opened its wings. At this moment, an indescribable sea of flames appeared. The moment the sea giant's mouth arrived, a trace of killing intent flashed in Wang Lin's eyes, and he softly said, "Vermilion bird flame." After he spoke those words, the vermilion bird above him suddenly expanded its wings and endless flames erupted and spread in all directions. These flames were boundless, and as they spread, miserable roar came from the sea giant as it was forced to retreat. Even the wall-like wave that was within 1,000 feet of Wang Lin immediately evaporated when it came in contact with the flame. The water turned to mist and was pushed back. It retreated several times faster than when it closed in. However, the vermilion bird's flames chased closely after it. At this moment, the wall of water dissipated and condensed back into the sea giant. However, the size of the sea giant had changed greatly. It was now less than 10,000 feet tall, and it was no longer sitting but standing. The moment the sea giant reformed, the vermilion bird flame descended and surrounded the giant. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he pointed forward. The vermilion bird let out another cry. It turned into a ball of flames and charged like a meteor toward the sea giant. It broke through the seawater and went inside the sea giant. Miserable roars continued to come from the sea giant. It was surrounded by flames already, and when the vermilion bird charged in, even its insides were burning. As the sea giant was burning from both inside and outside, it waved its arms as if it was struggling. However, it couldn't stop the water that formed its body from being turned into gas that filled the sky. This made the wind demon reveal an extremely bitter expression. She finally realized the gap between her and Wang Lin, and this made her silently ponder. However, there was a flash of viciousness in her eyes that were filled with frustration. As the sea giant struggled in vain and its body continued to dissipate into mist, its body got smaller and smaller. Just when it was about to disappear completely, the sea giant let out a thunderous roar and its entire body began to contract until it was only one drop of water. Then it unexpectedly broke through the flames and charged straight at Wang Lin. The vermilion bird cried once more and chased closely after the drop of water. The drop of water was so fast that it instantly closed in on Wang Lin. It was obviously its last struggle before death. But Wang Lin didn't panic, and a flash of blue light came from his right eye. The azure light shield immediately appeared before him. There was a thunderous roar when a powerful impact hit the azure light shield. It was pushed back several inches by the force, but it didn't crack. It blocked the attack of the drop of water. At the same time, the vermilion bird closed in and surrounded the drop of water with unimaginable heat. The water droplet became smaller and smaller before it finally disappeared after one final roar. The roar of the sea giant still echoed across the sky. However, when the last water drop disappeared, the entire sky rumbled as if it was going to collapse. At this moment, the sky seemed to be torn, and the seabed shattered inch by inch. This collapse only lasted for several breaths before the sky shattered. The seabed also shattered and exposed the green beneath it. This entire world was only a drop of dew on the leaf of a flower. Wang Lin only felt his vision blur, and when he reappeared, he was in the flower field he fell in before. The moment the ocean world collapsed, the wind demon charged out at full speed. Her goal was to charge into another restriction to escape. However, just as she moved, Wang Lin's figure appeared. Terrified, the wind demon was going to retreat when a cold voice entered her ears. "Stop!" The wind demon's body suddenly stopped. Although she recovered in an instant, it was enough for Wang Lin. Wang Lin raised his right hand and pointed at a scar on the wind demon's face. With a sizzling sound, the scar on the wind demon's face disappeared, revealing white skin below it. "Yao Shishue, I won't kill you. I will save you. This will clear our karma and let you meet your father. After that, we will go our own ways and never meet again." Wang Lin's right hand didn't stop. Every time he pressed down, one of the wind demon's scars would disappear. His hand was very fast, leaving behind many afterimages. Before the stop spell stopped working, another stop spell was used. Fear filled wind demon's eyes. She had already guessed what Wang Lin was going to do. As Wang Lin's right hand continued to move, the countless scars on the wind demon slowly disappeared until none were left. At this moment, the wind demon returned back to her previously beautiful self. Her jade-like white skin seemed like it would shatter from just a breath. The crystal-clear color emitted a special kind of charm. For an instant, Wang Lin thought he could see the Yao Shishue from back then. Finally, Wang Lin pointed to the spot between the Wind Demon's eyebrows. The Wind Demon's body immediately trembled. She remembered how Wang Lin had used that strange teleportation spell when the battle started. He could have seriously injured her, but instead he had chosen to simply point to between her eyebrows. During that moment of crisis, she didn't think too much. However, when Wang Lin pointed to between her eyebrows again, the Wind Demon seemed to realize something. The first point was to make yours and Yao Shishue's memories fuse and thus create an opening. Only then would there be a chance for a rescue. Wang Lin seemed to be talking to himself as he pointed at the Wind Demon one last time. His eyes revealed a strange light. When the Wind Demon saw this gaze, a chill swept her heart. If you had really done as you promised, help Yao Shishue get revenge, then you would have been part of the karma rather than an intrusion. If that were the case, I wouldn't have interfered. However, you didn't do that. I don't care that you cheated Yao Shishue, but you destroyed the chance for my life and death domain and karma domain to evolve. Moreover, your inheritance is only memories, and the real you is dead. Although you call yourself a demon, you are just Yao Shishue. You can't die, because you're just a memory. The mysterious light in Wang Lin's eyes became even stronger. Then he opened his mouth and inhaled deeply. Wang Lin used the most overbearing devouring spell passed down from Qing Shui. What he devoured was the demonic energy inside Yao Shishue. The fear in the Wind Demon's eyes reached its limit when this suction force appeared. She felt all the demonic energy in her body get sucked into this cultivator's mouth. The demonic energy came out of the Wind Demon and was sucked into Wang Lin's mouth. Finally, even the memories engraved inside Yao Shishue's soul were also inhaled by Wang Lin. You shouldn't have left your memories inside Yao Shishue. There is no hatred between us, so I'll find another vessel for you. The fear in Yao Shishue's eyes dissipated and her body trembled. Confusion filled her eyes and she was extremely weak. The moment she became sober, she immediately retreated a few steps, and the confusion in her eyes became even stronger. Yao Shishue stared at Wang Lin, but her mind was completely blank. No matter how much she tried, she couldn't find any memories. The fear of having no memories immediately appeared on her face. The current her was helpless, and the fear on her face clearly landed in Wang Lin's eyes. Your name is Yao Shishue. And I'm a friend of yours. Yao Shishue muttered softly, but confusion still filled her eyes. However, there was a hint of caution in her gaze at Wang Lin. Wang Lin let out a sigh, then he opened his mouth and a ray of ghostly light came out. This startled Yao Shishue, and she exclaimed and retreated once more. Her gaze was no longer cautious but filled with fear. After losing all her memories, she was like a mortal seeing a cultivator use spells for the first time. The 18 Hell Celestial Sealing Stamp appeared before Wang Lin. After pondering for a moment, he pointed at the 14th layer. There was only one soul inside the 14th layer. This soul was surrounded in a mist of blood and gave off a monstrous amount of resentment. It was Blood Ancestor. This video will end here.